Get in the pool. Let's do it. Make it happen.
Sports Card Strategy Show, Paul Hickey, Nate Murphy. We are brought to you by Market Movers app, by Sports Card Investor. Use the promo code NOOFFSEASON when you sign up at marketmoversapp.com, and you save 20% on the best place to track the data of your collection. But not only that, learn who to buy low and when to sell them high. Right, Murph?
Oh, buy low, sell high. That's the ultimate goal, Paul. That's what we're trying to help people do here. Think about what you're doing.
We know people are having fun, but we want people to make money. And the theme of today's show and of most of our shows are going to be buy low, sell high. So we're going to remind you of that, right? Yes,
we're going to remind people of that. I think that's a good place to start on your show. As I watched on your YouTube channel last night, the Nashville Sports Card Show that you did with Max, and it sounds like Max kind of got the upper hand on strategy, negotiation, and trading. So I think he might have got the upper hand on you. But I think that's a good way to get into today. Is we're week 2 into the NFL season. We are starting to get some hype machine going on a few guys. A lot of injuries are happening, which means that a lot of players that maybe were drafted 3rd, 4th, 5th round are going to get their shot, which means the cards are going to go up.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So let's jump right into that topic, because one of the things you wanted to talk about, not only today, but on just about every show, is how to think about buying, what players to buy and what to buy of them. And then you also wanted to talk about who to start selling. And what I really liked about your show itinerary was to look at which ones will we think will pay off later and which ones will make you pay later. So you mentioned NFL. So I want to jump right into my NFL.
We're going right into it?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's go straight in the NFL. Nate's 2-0 in his fantasy league and winning both of his pick'em leagues. So I'm extra hyped heading into week 3. So I'm really hyped for this.
Congratulations. That's awesome. I'm hyped for the NFL too. So how to think about buying who and what to buy. What I'm doing right now is I am looking for guys that had some hype in the offseason and in the preseason, but have taken a bit of a dip. Maybe it's an injury, maybe it's a poor performance, but they are likely to bounce back. And what I'm doing is, now that you've got the releases certified from Panini, black from Panini, and a couple other releases from Panini. And what that means is there are rookie patch autographs in pro uniforms of this year's rookies. And so I'm gonna throw out a few names here.
Okay.
I am looking for rookie patch autographs on eBay for under $50. That's my buy.
Okay. So your target price is under 50. Okay. So you're gonna throw some guys out. All right.
I'm gonna throw some guys out, and I think that if you go over 50, I think what happens is you lose the profit margin in your.
Okay.
Not to say that guys aren't going to be potential long-term holds. It's just there's no way to know, and there's so many injuries, and that's why I like that you throw out the NFL first, because there's so many injuries in the NFL that I just don't know if any non-franchise quarterback or any non-established player is a long-term hold at all. So we're talking quick.
The NFL, if you don't get a shot in the NFL at one point in your life, then you just had the worst luck ever, or you shouldn't have been there in the first place, because everybody's going to get a shot to do something.
Yeah. So here are the guys that I think, if you can get their rookie patch autographs for under $50, or even rookie autographs, doesn't have to be an RPA, but what I'm targeting right now is RPAs for under $50. So Najee Harris, it's going to be super hard to get him for under $50 right now.
Super hard.
Yeah, I think he's a name to throw out there, because if he has a couple bad games in a row, or if he goes down with maybe a 2 to 3 week injury, you could see some of his cards drop, and I would snag him then. But all the rest of the names, I think you can all get for under $50. Elijah Moore from the Jets. A lot of people now the Jets are horrible right now, which is
not just right now, all season.
Yeah, and for they're perennially horrible. So they've been horrible for a long time. But Elijah Moore had a lot of hype. He was the first pick overall in the second round, and some people even picked him as their rookie of the year pick. A lot of pundits did, and so I think that it's a buy low. I got an Elijah Moore for less than $20 in RPA. So I see that as a good buy because when the dude has a good game or puts together a few good games, even in the stat column, even if the Jets stink, I should be able to sell that RPA for more than $20. So I think that that is a long shot. I'm gonna name my long shots first, and then I have a few more solid guys because I went with an obvious one like Najee Harris. So Elijah Moore, less obvious. Kenny Gainwell is my deep sleeper in Philly.
I don't think it's as deep as you think. I think it's a single deep.
Good. Well, that's great because you've seen some hype around him. Brian Westbrook, who we're all trying to compare him to, has come out and basically said he really likes the guy and that he's going to earn more playing time. If you look at his stats, he's been very efficient in his first 2 NFL games. And I've got 5 of his RPAs already, all for under $15. So if this dude
I think you're going to be in luck on that, Hicks. The guy can play out of the backfield, run the ball, catch the ball. In that offense right now, where honestly they're just figuring it out. They've got what they believe is going to be their franchise quarterback if they can protect him and keep him healthy. This team is going to have so many roller coasters because you're starting a second-year quarterback, rookie wide receivers all over the place. You basically have an under couple-year tight end. And you know me, tight ends don't figure it out till year 3. And the quarterbacks don't figure out how to throw to their tight end until year 3. Kenny Gainwell's got a shot to be pretty good. This offense could be scary by the end of this year. You got him under $15. I don't think you're going to hate that decision.
That's a long shot, and I really am happy to hear you say that because you're usually right about these things, and you're usually very objective. So I know you're being objective with me here, and I'm pretty excited about that. So another guy that is going to be hard to get for under $50 is Rondelle Moore, the wide receiver in Arizona, second-round pick. And I think the reason why is because he's already in his second week put up, I think, something like 5 to 7 catches for 110 yards and a touchdown. Don't like Rondelle Moore.
Sell today.
Okay.
Just not a big Rondelle Moore fan. Here's the thing. If you look at the routes that Rondelle Moore caught his balls on, they were out-of-the-pocket moves. They were kind of getting lost in coverage. The guy hasn't proved to me that he can run a solid route quite yet, other than can I find a little bit of space when things are breaking down? Now, hey, Arizona's good when things are breaking down because you got a quarterback that can get out and around. I'm not ready to say that he's going to move beyond about that that fourth option in Arizona right now because let's remember, you still have Hopkins, you still have Kirk. I think the guy's gotten off to a really good start, but if you see the catches that he's made, the routes that have been run, it's when the play breaks down. Prove to me that you can run a solid route, get open, and make those 100-yard catches or those 100-yard days time after time. I like Rondelle Moore, but this would be a sell high for me.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is week to week, so good stuff, Murph. I mean, so if you're – I have seen Rondelle Moore RPAs going for over $100 right now, so it's nearly impossible to get him for my under 50 price. Basically –
yeah. Have you gotten any of those yet?
No, I haven't hit on any of those. I've bid on several, and I've set my high bid at 50 just because I don't want to lose that profit margin. And so I think in some aspects we agree on this. I think we're both saying the same thing, that Rondelle Moore is a guy that's going to have a lot of hype around him, but don't overpay for him. Because
do not overpay for Rondelle Moore because he's now granted different position. I don't know. Could he be Sam Gatto? 3 good weeks and then just where the hell did he go? I don't think that's going to be the case because I think Moore is talented. He's fast. He's got good hands. I just haven't proved that in the system quite yet. Can he be good? And if you're Arizona, you don't want things to break down too often. Moore can be great when it breaks down. Problem is, you don't want it to break down game after game after game.
So here's going to be my strategy with Rondelle Moore. It's going to be to wait until he has a few bad weeks in the stat column and has some of those struggles. And if his RPA prices come down, or even just his autograph card prices come down under 50, then I might snag some because we've already seen where they're over 100 already on the hype. The dude is going to have another good game in the season. And so there could still be a play to be made if he struggles and his prices come down, you buy him, and then he blows up again, then you sell him.
Something near to dear to my heart is the stock market. These are the fintechs right now, back in January, February, and March. These fintechs went absolutely crazy. They exploded. Nate, on the other hand, bought them back in September, sold them in February and March, got my profits, put them onto something safer, live to play another day with Rondelle Moore.
Love it. Okay. So how do you feel about Rashad Bateman in Baltimore? Because to me, he fits my mold of dude looked great coming out of the draft, got a lot of hype, then goes down with an injury. He was drafted, maybe some are saying even a little bit later in the first round than he would have had he not opted out during last college season at Minnesota due to COVID. Now you're hearing that he's going to come back from this groin surgery. John Harbaugh has been non-committal in terms of actually when he's coming back. But Rashad Bateman could be back this week. He could be back the following week. The dude is not to be forgotten, and I think maybe some people have forgotten about him because his card prices, I just snagged up, not an RPA, but I just made an offer for $30 for a rookie autograph of Rashad Bateman, and the offer was accepted. So I'm excited that I've got a Rashad autograph card coming in for under $50. What's your take on Rashad Bateman?
Wait and see. Simple as that. Wait and see. But if you're able to get it for a good price, then why wouldn't you, right?
Because he fits your Rondelle Moore a little bit, where things break down in Baltimore. Lamar's chasing, being chased around. And Lamar doesn't have a guy. He doesn't have a guy.
He doesn't have a guy.
Rashad Bateman be his guy.
He could. I mean, all of those guys could be the guy. I mean, I'm blanking totally right now. Hollywood
Brown, Marquise.
Hollywood Brown, yes. Sorry, I was thinking Smith. I'm like, God, I know that's not right. Hollywood Brown. I mean, this is a classic guy who was just a simple speedster. Really was. I mean, he's almost like what Tyler Lockett was, 4 or 5 years ago. Where just get behind the defense, go make a play, and I'm going to throw it up and let the athletes go up and get it, right? But if Hollywood can figure out how to be a consistent threat on routes that aren't just go routes and so forth, the guy's going to be fantastic. But Lamar doesn't have a lot of help. He's the best player on the field almost no matter what game he's playing. But the guy needs some help. And Bateman could be that guy. But when you don't know, when there's just a lot of mud in the water, you want to play it. You want to play it. If you're not dealing with money, like in just fantasy league or something, yeah, go get Bateman. But when you're dealing with money, wait and see. Go get 1 or 2 of them and see what happens. Maybe hit the jackpot.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, Kenny Gainwell to go out and get 5 or 6 of them at about $15 a piece. It's a lot of money when it adds up, but it's less of a risk, I think, than going out and getting several Rashad Batemans at $30, $40, $50 a piece. So I've got one.
They're in no different of a situation, in my opinion. They're not really in any different of a situation. Bateman more hype. Gainwell has the potential opportunity, down the road as this offense is trying to find their guys. Is it going to be Devontae? Is it going to be Quez? Is it going to be Gainwell? Is it going to be Sanders moving forward? All is you got your franchise quarterback. You're trying to put the best pieces around him. And I think both teams are kind of in that spot right now.
Yeah, and
So there's really no different. You're paying 4 times the premium for a guy that's probably just 4 times the hype, but no really different situation. I think that's the thing that you always got to monitor.
yeah, that's a good point. So I'm going to skip Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle, 2 more Alabama wide receivers in Philadelphia and Miami. But I'm going to go to another, and the reason I'm skipping them is because their prices, I've bid on them. I've tried to stay under $50. I haven't gotten any of them because I'm staying disciplined with my $50 high bid. But they're going for well over $100 each of them because they've started up the year so well, and they look like studs. I mean, I'm not saying don't buy them, but I'm saying for me, I'm trying to keep the budget low. I do think people who can get them for around $100 will still have a flippable opportunity. It's just a little bit rich for me right now. But I'm going to go to another Alabama wide receiver.
Paul, no matter what your budget is, somebody's budget may be 200, some people's may be 50, like you. Some people may be 15. Stick to the budget. It's like, I mean, that's as simple as that. If you get undisciplined, you're going to overpay. You're going to be sorry about it, because these things are going to be cyclical. Not every player out there is Patrick Mahomes. Sorry, they're not, or Lamar Jackson. So you got to be disciplined, especially when you're talking about rookie wide receivers hitting the rookie wall right around game 11, 12, 13, 14. That's something that people want to be reminded of. These guys aren't used to playing that many games week after week after week. There's no bad teams in the NFL like there is in college.
Yeah, you're right. Stick to the budget. Like you said at the beginning of the show, like Max did that at the card show. Whenever I do that, I give myself a way better chance of winning. And if you go over your budget, things can spiral out of control real fast. So what I want to do is go to another Alabama wide receiver, Jerry Judy, got a high ankle sprain, I believe, in week 1. And so the hype train has completely gone off the tracks with him. The hype machine has fizzled. And so what I like—
You're a Judy guy. You are a Judy guy.
What I like to do is look for those opportunities. I mean, if a guy's card prices go down because of an injury that he can clearly come back from by the end of the season, and put up some numbers, and he's still an Alabama guy, so there's that fan base and the hobby.
Yeah.
He's not on a horrible team in Denver. The quarterback situation is a little sketchy, but what do you think of Jerry Judy? Because I'm getting Jerry Judy cards for autographed Jerry Judy cards, rookies, for less than $15 each right now. And I think that's just a steal.
Of course. I mean, it's a steal. I mean, a high ankle sprain is going to be a 3 or 4 week injury, depending on the severity of it. Once he comes back, it's not like a hamstring where it could just be lingering, and you're just sitting here throughout 2021 being like, when's this guy going to do anything? I mean, he's going to come back and he's going to be just as strong as what he was. The thing that you reference is that you still have a sketchy quarterback situation over there. You do have weapons in Denver, but Judy is likely the guy that does step out. If you're able to get it for less than 15, the question is, Paul, what was that exact same card going for leading into week 1? Was that a $60 value? Was that $50? I mean, what was that?
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head, but you got to go to marketmoversapp.com, get that subscription, use the promo code season, and save 20%, and you'll see. But that's a good point. You do want to look at that, Murph. I'm glad you brought that up, because you want to see what is that card going for, because it should go back up there when he gets back on the field. And then when he does something, it could go even more.
If you're just sitting there, you got to look at trends. You got to look at, 6 months before, in this case, a month before. If you're just looking at a spot target on a price, that is not going to be the way that you're going to make any money.
Yeah, that's very true. And so with Judy, just to clarify, his RPAs are higher than 15. I'm trying to stay below 50. I think I can do it. Got some auctions ending soon. We'll see if that actually happens. But just as regular rookie autos, I'm getting for around $15. So that's great. Now, 2 more rookies that I'll throw out there real quick before we get into a couple other guys I think to buy right now are Kyle Pitts, 4th overall pick, Atlanta. His RPAs are possibly available for below 50, depending on the auction that you're in. or if you can make an offer to a seller. And then Kadarius Toney in New York is in a real sketchy situation there with Daniel Jones. I don't really know what's going on with the Giants, but he could be that guy that, because it's so sketchy right now, he could be a buy low. What do you think of Kyle Pitts in Atlanta, the tight end, and Kadarius Toney? These are both first-round picks.
Here's what I'd say about Atlanta is, first thing, not a big Matt Ryan guy. At some point, they are going to move on from that. If you had Matt Ryan 3 years ago, he was a little younger. The thing you know about Matt Ryan is he wants to leverage the tight end. He's had a lot of success with, obviously, Gonzalez. I'm slipping on the other name just from a couple years ago, but he wants to leverage the tight end position. I'm not big on tight ends in their first couple of years. You know that. It'd be a fantasy thing. And if I was significantly buying a lot of cards right now, it would be the same thing with this. Prove it to me first. Prove it to me your quarterback wants to throw it to you. And second, it is hard to tell with a tight end because in college, there's only 2 or 3 of them that actually are any good because they just spread the field and throw it to the wide receivers all day long. So it's really hard to tell who's going to be great. As far as what's going on in New York, I actually really like what the Giants are doing. I've watched a game or so. I like what I see from Daniel Jones. It was not Daniel Jones's fault that they're 0-2 right now. He's played really well. He's spread the ball around. I like what they're doing. I hope that they don't turn on the guy throughout this season because you give him a little bit of time. He's very mobile. He's starting to be better when throwing outside of the pocket. I think the sky's the limit for all the weapons there in New York right now. I'd be a buyer if you can get it cheap.
Love it. Okay. We talked about, we mentioned a couple situations in guys that I was buying low in the offseason, and I'm hoping that they're going to have a good time to sell coming up. And there was Saquon Barkley and Lamar Jackson. So they both kind of fit my mold of some of the guys that we talked about here coming off of injuries and things like that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to throw those out there. Now let's talk about a few guys that I think will pay off later, and then we'll hit make you pay later, and then we'll go back to who I'm selling, okay? Because we talked about buy low. Now let's talk about not necessarily buy low, but probably buying guys that are still have very high prices, but I believe could pay off later. So
okay, so you believe in the player. This isn't a flippable. This is a potentially long-term thing, right? Is this what you're asking me?
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
Shoot.
I think Trevor Lawrence still. I think
of course
you've got two.
What's not to love? The guy's got the hair. I think his coach is going to be bolting to USC because he's just one of the top 10 worst Americans alive in Urban Meyer. But there's nothing not to like about Trevor Lawrence. There isn't. Of course, if he's going down, they can't protect him. They're going to struggle. If you bought Trevor Lawrence at the peak, you're going to be. You got to keep him a few years. Absolutely, Trevor Lawrence. Long-term investment, without a doubt.
Yeah, I think he's a guy that sort of transcends all the rules that we've talked about on this show up until this point. Like we've talked about this flippable window with the lower tier products like Don Russ and Chronicles and Contenders and things like that. But I think any rookie Trevor Lawrence in a Jaguars uniform that fits your budget is worth buying, especially now, because people are going to be down on him. His prices are going to come down, but I think long term he's more of a Peyton Manning, struggles in year one, but then is very good throughout his career, very solid.
Oh, look,
has the
absolutely. This is not Ryan Leaf. Okay, this is a 15-year quarterback, barring injury, who's going to be competing in the playoffs year after year after year. Without a doubt, long-term investment. Long-term
investment, Trevor Lawrence will pay off later. What about Justin Fields? He was my next guy.
It's honestly, it's still a wait and see on Justin Fields. I think I said the same thing about Jalen Hurts. And honestly, I mean, I think the guy's played great. It's going to be up and down for a guy like Hurts, but it's not because of Hurts. And I think in Chicago, he's got some weapons. Fields does have weapons. He's got a little bit of a running game. He's got, Mooney out wide. He's got other receivers that can certainly help him. That's certainly a team that can grow. Nagy has proven that he can make even Mitchell Trubisky a few years ago into a viable quarterback. I think a guy like Fields might just be his guy that can save his job if they can show sparks and an improving offense throughout the year. I wouldn't go out and buy a bunch of Jalen Hurts this minute because I don't think Jalen Hurts comes in and just lights the world on fire. I just don't see that yet. But I do think that if you can kind of watch the market through marketmovers.com, then I do think if you can find a little bit of a 20, 30, 40% dip, I think you go out and buy some.
Awesome. Love it. Okay, so one more guy that I think will pay off later, and he's also a buy low, so he fits both of those categories, but plays a different sport. Go to the NBA real quick. The second overall pick last year. A lot of people don't realize he was the second overall pick last year. He's 7 foot, and he plays for the Golden State Warriors. He's very low right now. His rookie autographs are extremely affordable. James Wiseman. I think James Wiseman is a great buy low. I think he can pay off later, especially if he stays healthy and Golden State makes a playoff run. I'm looking to buy James Wiseman now and sell him in May. What do you think?
Golden State's, been kind of a train wreck the last couple of years. They still have the core three. It's a matter of being able to fit him in and make him a part of a team that has a healthy Curry, a healthy Thompson, and a healthy Green. I think they'll figure out a way to do that. Steve Kerr's a pretty smart guy, and those three are Hall of Famers. So bring him in. If you can get him low, why not? I mean, what price are you getting him right now?
James Wiseman rookie autographs under $50. He's in my budget.
He's in the budget. And if he's in the budget and he plays in Golden State, why the hell not, right?
I mean, some of them are under $25, but
well, then go get those.
You're looking at Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball, the number 1 and the number 3 picks, going for, you can't get their rookie autographs for anything less than $500, $1,000, $2,000. So you get the second overall pick in the draft on a better team with arguably a better chance of winning. I think definitely than the Timberwolves. I think the Hornets are good, but I think that Wiseman, the hobby doesn't love big men as much as they love guards, but I think James Wiseman has a lot of room to dazzle and get some hype around him.
You got to get a little bit. If you got some dazzle as a big man, then you have a fighting chance. I mean, the NBA loves guards. It loves wings. But the question's going to be, can they fit him in for more than just a role player? That's going to be the big thing. They're not going to stop telling Curry to chuck it. They're not going to stop telling, Thompson to throw it on up there once this guy is healthy. When those guys come back, they're shooting from 24 feet. They straight up are. So do I think that all of a sudden you need him to be like an Ayton, to where he just shows a little spark in the first couple of years. And then all of a sudden that guy proves that he can play numerous positions on the floor. He can play the 4. He can play the 5. Could it be the same? Sure. You could be buying a pretty good asset there. And once that thing tips up on over $100, get rid of it.
Yeah.
Get rid of it.
I totally agree. That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at don't be greedy. As soon as it starts to spike, get rid of it. I love that you brought up DeAndre.
So here's the question with this guy, and I don't know much about him. I don't know anything about this guy, but here's what I want from a big man, and this is what guys like Embiid have shown, guys like DeAndre Ayton have shown, is that they can make a bucket from 14 feet. They can make free throws. My biggest thing. You never draft a center that cannot shoot free throws. Here's the reason why. Because in crunch time, you can't even have him on the court. I'm not drafting a guy high that can't make a 15-foot free throw and prove that he can stay on the court without a hack-a-shack mentality. Ayton can do it. Embiid can do it. That's why those guys are invaluable players to have, not only in playing basketball, but to have in your collection.
Amazing take on James Wiseman. I do believe that the DeAndre Ayton comparison is a great one, just because when Ayton started playing well in the playoffs last year, his cards went up. It doesn't matter that he's a center. He was on the floor. He was contributing, and
he's playing 40 minutes a game, and that's what you want.
So here's a few guys that you may know something about, or
may not.
And I want you to tell me why I have them all grouped together. Now we're about to segue into a couple different categories. We've talked about buy low, and we've talked about which ones will pay off later. So these guys, which categories do you think these guys fall into? I'm going to give you two different groups of names, and you're going to guess the category between sell now or make you pay.
Okay, so those are my two choices.
First group, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, Jamar Chase. Second group, Taylor Heineke, Derek Carr, Davis Mills, and Jacob Eason.
Oh, I mean, this is hard to say. I mean, the first one with Hurts and all them. Well, first of all, if you can sell, if you're buying Jacob Eason and all those guys that you mentioned right now, I'm just telling you, they're going to make you pay. All right.
You got it, Murph.
In my opinion, I just looked on Sports Card Investor, and I saw, this was yesterday, I saw that Jacob Eason, his cards are going up like 300%. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, yeah, you might be right, but they still, I'm sorry, they put an investment into Wentz. I don't care that he got both of his ankles just ripped apart underneath a defensive lineman over the weekend. They're not going to, bench the guy right now. They're going to make you pay. And the other ones, I go and sell right now. Why not? They've played well. Now, I like Jalen Hurts. I like that category. But go ahead and sell some. Don't keep them all.
You nailed it, my friend. You nailed it. Okay, so in our last few minutes here, I want to get into a segment that I think was cool. It was your idea called Into the DeLorean, vintage card talk, and maybe some predictions. So, but before we do that, there's one thing I want to throw out there because it's very relevant to what we've been talking about on the show the last few weeks, and that is over the next few weeks, you'll start seeing a product come out. The 2021-2022 NBA rookies will start to come out. You'll start seeing singles of them listed on eBay. So as you search for Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, Jalen Suggs, and other rookies, you'll see them. But they will be in college uniforms because Panini Chronicles Draft Picks Hobby was just released. It was $850 a box. And I just want to reiterate to avoid these boxes and singles because, again, they're going to decrease in value when the pro uniforms come out. And I don't want people out there, our audience, to be chasing these because people are going to rip them. They're going to post them on eBay. They're going to be cool cards. And you're going to see on Market Movers and on Sports Card Investor, you're going to see the top cards, the value. And you're going to chase them. And then the pro uniforms are going to come out and the value is going to sink. And so unless you're a flipper, unless you're already seasoned, we know our audience is a little bit less seasoned. They're a little bit more the guys coming back into the hobby wanting to learn.
They're me. Yeah,
they're you. So, drop a comment if you disagree, but I think avoid that product. $850 a box for college uniforms. I'm not touching it.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I mean, this is like buying a minor league card. Here's what you know about minor league cards. They're good for about 12 minutes, and then all of a sudden they got 15 years as a pro. That's where you want to buy it. So it's going to be no different. So yeah, just don't go chasing those guys. Guys, don't go chasing them.
Absolutely. So let's talk about vintage card talk and predictions. Talk to me about Into the DeLorean. I want to hear you lead this segment.
Well, in just a couple of minutes here, we don't have a lot of time left, but I talked to Paul about going into the DeLorean. I want to go 88 miles an hour, and I want to go back to 1980s and 1990s. All right. So I'm going, as you know, I'm actually heading home over the weekend, and I'm going to be doing something that I've never done before. I'm gonna get some of my cards, and that I've already talked to you a little bit about, some of my Griffies, some of my Michael Jordan cards that I did actually open years ago. Most of mine are not, but I did open a lot of these. I'm also going to be bringing back home a Dan Marino second year, a Jim Kelly rookie card, and I'm going to be sending some of these out to SGC for grading. I've never done any grading before, so Paul has not only kind of gotten me back into discussing some of these things, but he's also getting me into the modern times of sending my cards away for grading. So I'm pretty excited about this, and we'll be chronicling this as we go. So next week when I'm on the show with you guys, I'm going to be showing you some of the ones that I did bring back, and then Paul's going to be kind of counseling me through what I need to do next. So how do I send these? I mean, do I send them in an envelope? Do I send them in a screw case? I don't know. So I'm just going to have them loose in like a little penny sleeve. And then we're going to talk about maybe ones that I should send away, or maybe some that I shouldn't. Here's what I'm going to do initially. I'm just going to take some cards that are selling pretty good, and I'm going to send them all away. I'm going to make some mistakes, just like you should when you're trying to figure out what you have. You're going to make a few, but don't make a ton of them. It's okay to, make a mistake on a couple $100 of grading the wrong ones, but you want to see what's good and what's not. So I'm going to be kind of where a lot of you guys are right now and trying to figure out this modern market. And we're going to do that over the course of the next couple of weeks. So I'm kind of excited about it. But we're going to bring a lot home. We're going to bring some Jordans. We're going to bring some Griffies. We're going to bring some Randy Johnsons that I know that I've got. And then some even mid-'80s NFL rookie cards and second-year cards. We're going to bring those back. We're going to talk about them. So I'm kind of excited about it.
I am freaking pumped, Murph. This is going to be super exciting. I love that you want to chronicle it on the show. I love that. I think we've got multiple future episodes of you just showing the card, us doing an analysis on it, talking about how to send it in for grading, maybe why or why not to send it in. We can get the specifics of how to do it. Love it.
And we've got a classic. We got a classic one. So I do have two Marino second-year cards, and the funny thing about that is one of them's in really, pretty good condition. Right? It's not amazing. I don't know what it would grade out at, but the other one is pristine. Other than one thing, it's got the gum mark on the back. So it's like, okay, well, I don't even know if that's worth it. Maybe it is. I don't know. It's Dan Marino. So it's something that'll be kind of fun to talk about. Something that you don't talk about in today's modern card market because you don't have the gum mark.
I love that you're going to get a card graded with the gum mark. It's going to be phenomenal.
I'm not going to get it graded, likely. But maybe I will. Maybe it's just what's a gum mark card worth that looks perfect every other thing? I don't know.
I just want to post a YouTube video that says, does a gum mark affect your grading?
Maybe it's worth. Well, how much is an SGC grading?
I might pay the $30 just because.
Is it $30?
Yeah.
Shit, it's worth it. Done. We'll grade it.
All right, we're doing it. Okay, so I want to make a quick prediction related to vintage cards before we sign off. I think that it's ripe for a bit of a spike, not a huge spike, but I think in January and February of 2021, it was a bubble, and then it came down as everyone, the demand was not, the supply was way above the demand. More and more people got into their attics, got into their basements, and started flooding the market with their vintage cards. And that happened from March through basically July. And so we've seen in August and September of 2021 a gradual increase in a lot of these vintage cards, talking about the late 80s, early 90s studs in baseball, football, and basketball. And so I think the guys that you mentioned, but also Jordan, Magic, and Bird, Those cards will be hot again over the holidays. I expect that by December of 2021, as more middle-aged men and women, of course, but as more middle-aged guys are sitting around the house, enjoying time with their family, watching the NBA, feeling some nostalgia, watching some old highlights of, as NBA coverage shows, old highlights from back in the day of classic players.
Yep.
I think that people will look to eBay to start buying these. And I think if you are sitting on any of the late 80s, early 90s Jordan, Magic, Bird cards, I think you should get them back out and get them ready to list on eBay around that time coming up.
They're going to be cyclical. That's the thing. They're going to be a cyclical buy and sell. You just got to be ready for it and time out the market. They're not playing any more basketball. They can't get hurt. They can't put up a 2 for 14 night, for 4 months straight. They're done playing. So it's just going to be a cyclical market, but it's the one that will, like a stock market, it's going to be the one that's probably going to pay you a dividend consistently over time. The ups will always be up. The downs won't go down that much, but you just got to be ready. Don't overreact to your Jordans not being what they were a few months ago. Never overreact to that. That is bad collecting and bad investing.
I think as long as these legends don't either O.J. Simpson or Bill Cosby themselves, they'll be just fine.
Right. And I'm sure that now that I'm sure that O.J.'s still okay. Oh, hey, I got the juice and a double murder.
I think we should look at some O.J. Simpson cards because
you know what? That would actually be a fun last 5 minutes of a segment. Let's go and find out what has happened with the juice and find out if double homicide does really hurt value or if it doesn't really do it at all.
That way, if Jordan ever commits double homicide, we can
which he won't.
What to expect with his card prices.
That's probably a stretch, but it's always good for the last 2 minutes.
There it is. Murph, great work today. I'll let you go. Everybody, thanks for watching. Again, we are sponsored by Market Movers app by Sports Card Investor. Save 20%. What's the promo code, Murph?
No off-season, all lowercase.
Yeah, buddy. Have a great day, my friend.
All right. You guys too. Happy collecting.